Okay, if we can have your attention, please, just grab a seat with your team and we'll re-engage.
All right, so as you've come back to your table, you're on either the 9th grade side or the 10th grade side. You're going to need a couple of different pieces. So let me make sure you have exactly what it is that you need. And then we're going to go into, Mark's going to show you the reports. So here is what you're going to need for this particular activity. You're going to need the white activity sheet that's inside of the folder that you grabbed when you came in today. You're going to...
You want this one?
Yep, that's the one right there. You're going to have access to the particular diagnostic, whether it was 9th grade ELA or 10th grade ELA, and Mark's going to show you how to get to that.
If you need the hard copy, these would be accommodated, but they're in the Session 2 folder in Diagnostics. If you don't have a hard copy with you, they're available there.
And then you're going to want to look at your student item analysis report. So you're going to have to use the item analysis report with the diagnostic together. And Mark's going to walk you through which parts of the item analysis report you're going to want to look at.
Okay, so now that we've distracted you with all kinds of different things, I'm going to ask you to kind of direct your attention up the screen so I can kind of give you some guidance, right? Many of you have used the item analysis report before, but more likely, if you're like me, you know the item analysis, but the people on your team know it really well. And so that's the case for me. The entire EDW team and Carla Kendall and Christine Gainwell, all those guys are really, really skilled with using this report. So anytime you want to go deeper or have a PD. So if I can just have you look up on this particular slide, there are links, and I've used one of those links. And so what I'm going to do right now is just illustrate this for you. So I have the grade 9 test up. I have filtered down to a single teacher, right? And one of the things that's necessary for an ELA test is to read the passage, right? But right now, we're just kind of looking at some data. So in this report, as I mentioned to you, it's laid out just like the test blueprint. On the left-hand side, we have standards. This column shows you the number of items for that standard. So if you see the second one down, L12, there are 4 items on the test related to that standard, and then you see the performance of this group of students against that standard. One thing that's new that I'll illustrate to you, just to the right of the standards, when you see this little hyperlink that says professional development, if you select that, it brings up videos to the teaching channel. So I suggest that you make sure that your teachers are aware of that opportunity. All right. Down below the standards, what you'll see here is there are, right now I'm looking at it by standard. If I select this tab, it shows me there's 10 items at DOK1, 23 items at DOK2, and 7 items at DOK3. Now, interestingly enough, for this group of students, you can see their performance doesn't vary a lot by the DOK, right? And then there are interactions. So when we're dealing with computer-based tests, there are different item types. And one of the things that you see when you look up there is there's an item type called inline that has 6 items and amongst the worst performance, right? So to illustrate this, I'm gonna go a step further. But down below, you can see a listing of students, their raw score, right? And then a list of the items that we'll go to in just a second. What I'm going to do real quickly is on inline, I'm going to select the 6, which will quickly filter it down to those 6 items. Okay, and I can see 4 of those items are on the same standard. Can you see the standard as I hover over it? What is it? Okay, so now what we're going to do, I've filtered down to those 6 items, right? I hover. What DOK is this? It's a DOK 1, right? When I hit this little play button, it brings it up, okay? And now you can begin to experience what the students experience, and you can see this is inline, there's a drop down, and that's the idea. For some of these, right, let's go to another one. This is also a DOK 1. And so this is what the students are missing, grammar, right? What I'm going to do real quickly is clear that filter. And you can filter on your low 25 kids. See how your low 25 kids, you can filter by subgroup, filter by teacher. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this, right? What I'm going to do is select these 3 items. RI11. And there's a passage associated with it, right? And my point of doing this is to illustrate something to you in just a second, right? There's 2 passages, and then there's going to be an item. Sorry. Can't look over there and do that. I'll not be able to display it all. We'll select a different item. But the item, the point of this is then you can review the passage, look at the item, right? And then you should find, in many cases, what I want to show you here is this distractor analysis. So this is critical. And our team invested 2 summers of recruiting teachers and developing these. So every single diagnostic item on every diagnostic test has a distractor analysis. So this can help in identifying misconceptions, point of error, things to reteach, clarify. It could be vocabulary, concepts, skill, right? And so, Diana, I think, so if you're stumbling around with the item analysis report like I'm doing a little bit, there are a lot of people in the room to help with that. But the point is, find an item, read the item, answer the item, right, and find out where the point of error is for a group of students. Yes, Michelle? That's an important distinction. Yep, that's good finding.
Is it because of that? Because they were at the end? Because on the FSA, they'll be intermixed. So
Yep.
that's my data. I don't know what it looks like for everybody else.
Okay, that's good. That's good analysis. And we know that we have kids that run into stamina issues, right? But go ahead.
So actually, in one of the slides on the PowerPoint, it's later, but you can look to it now. You have access to the PowerPoint. We actually looked at that. That's a great point. But in fact, on the last passage set of the questions, the real questions, not the grammar questions, it was by far the lowest performance that students had on those questions. And that's one of our theories, is it's stamina as opposed to standards, right? So that's true. But then if you look at the grammar standards, the percentage of students answering it correct shot way back up. So district-wide, we did not see that. At your school, it may have been a stamina issue. I'm not saying it wasn't. It may have been, but we did not see that district-wide, where we did see it on the actual last real passage set that dealt with reading comprehension questions. Once it got to grammar, it went back up because part of it's psychological. I think students see the really long passages with the reading comprehension. Then the grammar passages are like this. They're so short that it's a little boost. You know, yeah, exactly. They can feel very successful. Plus the complexity, besides just the length is so much shorter, the complexity at which those passages are written is much lower. So I think that tends to be a little bit easier. We did not see that issue district-wide.
Okay.
But no, it's a good question. Like I said, we definitely looked at it. In fact, it's a slide on here, so you'll see it because we definitely considered that.
So we're going to turn you loose and give you time as a team to do the activity, right? And then we're going to come back, and Diana and her team will take some items and kind of model for us, okay? But if you're going to go out and you're going to coach and you're going to support PLCs or support those who support PLCs, this is the work, right? So we ask that you and your team right now take an item, take a couple of items, break it down, and the result of this would be to have an action plan, if you will, okay? All right, thank you. We'll give you a little bit of time.